What's going on, fishing buddies? Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to show you how I'm launching lead and metal out into the surf. Walking the beach, casting lures in the surf is a great way to surf fish, guys. I call it guerrilla style surf fishing. Backpack cooler, a couple rods, walking the beach, looking for blow-ups, looking for pops, looking for birds, especially with super flat conditions like today. I mainly fish the Gulf of Mexico, so north is behind me. So when we have a north wind, it blows the surf flat. These are the ideal days to come out here and do this style of surf fishing. But you have to perfect your cast for this. A lot of these times these guys are running deep, and if you don't have the proper technique to get those lures out there, you're never gonna reach them. Knowing your equipment, knowing your rod, that's a huge deal. I see it all the time out here. Guys with like beefier rods, beefier setups, 10-footers, that hold like 5 to 6 lure weight, and they're out here trying to sling 1 ounce of lead. It'll work if they're running like right off the beach, but you really need to understand your equipment and what kind of weight you need to strap on that to get the maximum cast. We're gonna go over all that today, guys. Let's get it out there. First things first, guys, let's go over the equipment. Today, I got my beefier setup. This is my beefier setup I use for slinging lures into the Gulf of Mexico. I'll usually keep a lighter setup too, but that guy's out of commission right now. But for demonstration purposes, this is fine. This is a 9-foot Reel 38 Surf Pro. This is a great rod. You can use it for set rig fishing and slinging lures into the Gulf. The main thing you need to pay attention to when looking at your rod for this style of fishing is the lure capacity. This guy holds 2 to 5 ounces of lure weight. So right off jump, that tells me that 2.5, 3 ounce lure is gonna be my best lure to strap on this guy for distance casting. You wanna hit that mid-range point with your rod. Same thing with your set rig rods, guys. If you have an 11-footer and it holds like 2 to 6 ounces of weight, that 3 ounces of weight is gonna be the best load for your rod, and you're gonna get the distance with that. It's about the load of the rod, not necessarily the weight of the lure or the weight of the pyramid or anything like that. You really wanna know your equipment. I got a 4,500 pin slammer on here with 40-pound true braid. Your braid is gonna have a lot to do with it too. So this is 40-pound. This is not gonna go as far as, let's say, 20-pound. But because of this style of fishing, throwing these guys out into the water, you never know what you're gonna get. Could be a blue runner, could be a shark. So you kind of want to be prepared for that. You can't really get away with going with lighter braid. I mean, you can, but you'd be risking it. So I keep 40 pounds on my beefier casting rod, and then on my smaller setup, which holds up to 2 ounces of lure weight, I'll keep 20-pound on that guy. Usually my target with the smaller one are like Spanish and things like that, Spanish blues, and then I'll keep this beefier setup with me for like sharks, jacks, and reds. But again, I'm down a rod right now. So with the beefier setup, I know this guy, his max capacity is 5 ounces. So really that 3 ounce is the sweet spot, but you can get away with throwing lighter lures with the right technique, guys. And this is where the technique comes in. Super important to work on this. And what I'm about to show you, what I'm about to demonstrate, our body's natural defense is to fight against this. Our body is telling us we don't want treble hooks and lead flying over the top of our head. Your body's natural reaction is gonna wanna bring this rod to the side instead of straight over. That's greatly gonna hinder your cast for distance, guys. It's early in the morning here, there's not too many people out, so I'm gonna start with a demonstration where I am gonna actually go way back out there on the beach and launch this guy towards the water. It's gonna be easier to judge really how far we're getting this, like when we're in the sand here. Looking out into the water, it's deceiving. So before I go over technique and all that, let's get some cast in from way back there towards the Gulf and see if we can even make it to the water. All right, guys, I am gonna get all the way over here. I'm gonna give her a good sling and hope I don't hit my camera. Make sure nobody's around. Let's get it. I'm gonna give it just enough to get tight. Start rolling her back in. This is a good distance here, guys. This is a big hunk of beach that I'm walking. Oh man, they're blowing up right in front of me. All right, I see where it hit. We almost made it to the water. You see here, guys? That's where she went in. There's the water. And I was all the way back where that grass line starts. Just eyeballing this distance, guys, I'd say I'm on the 50-yard line. Another thing to consider with that cast is this is my beefier setup. If I would have had my lighter setup, the one that holds maximum 2 ounces, and strapped on like an 1.25 ounce lure shaped just like that, that cast would have went further. I know it's confusing. It's the action of the rod, guys. It's the action and the lure capacity of the rod is what you have to pay attention to. So now let's strap on something different. Very popular in the Panhandle, the old Halco popper. We love these things. This guy's about 1.5 ounces. So right away, this doesn't even meet my minimum lure capacity, which is 2 ounces. But throwing this guy on the lighter setup, it would sail. Let's see how far we can get the Halco. I'm gonna head right back to my same spot. All right, same spot. Nobody's around. The launch. Not terrible. I mean, it obviously did not go as far, but I got it further than I thought I would. So I landed right here, guys, about 15 yards shy from my first cast. Same weight of lure, maybe a little lighter, but the design of it, the shape of it is what hindered that cast. But still a great cast. That's a long ways. All right, guys, let's get into the actual technique of casting. For this demonstration, I'm just gonna tie on this big old swim bait because it doesn't go that far. I just don't want to keep reeling things in and wasting time. This is another great bait to use out here, guys. Again, you're not gonna get a huge cast with this because of the drag. When you throw this guy, he's gonna be flopping. He's not gonna just be cutting through the air. But this is a great bait to use when you see redfish or jacks or something like that running close to the beach. So we're gonna use this guy. I'm gonna move the camera around so you guys can get different angles of the cast. Think of it like throwing a baseball. So when I open my bell, that's like me pulling that ball to my gut, getting ready for the pitch. I find my target and the wind up is one motion. I never stop. Once I start moving that rod, it's one continuous motion with the sling. For the longest time, I would do things like this, where I would get ready for the cast, pull it back, stop, and kind of look where I was going to throw it, and then throw it. You're not going to get a maximum distance cast doing that. It's got to be one motion. Everything's got to be working in sync. Everything's got to be working together. Coming straight over the top of your head, not to the side. Super important. Our body wants us to throw it to the side, guys. Our body's like, I do not want this huge hook coming over the top of my head. But to get that distance cast, that accurate cast, it needs to come over the top of your head. You'll see with a little practice, once you start pulling this rod and this bait over the top of your head at your target, you're gonna hit it every time. That goes with set rig fishing too. So let's get a few casts in, show you guys what I'm talking about. When I open the bell, that's like me pulling the baseball to my gut. I find my target where I wanna throw, and it's one continuous motion after that. That's the surf cast, guys. Once that bell's open, you're swinging this guy around, turning the rod as you go, right? Because you want everything facing straight up, and then it's right back over the top. Again, open the bell. I'm pulling the ball to my gut, getting ready for the pitch. I find my target, everything swings out and back over. You will absolutely launch it, guys, if you can get this down. I'm gonna hit some different angles with the camera now so you can see kind of all the way around what's going on. We'll do the right side view here. You gotta make it look pretty, guys. Make it look pretty. Stepping into it just like you're throwing a baseball. Let's get the front view. One more time from the front. These casts are straight out in front of me, guys. That's what you want. When you start slinging to the side, like this, to keep it away from your head, you can pull it in front, but it's definitely not gonna go as far, guys. So I use all kind of different casts and different techniques depending on the situation. A lot of times it's just like an underhand lob, a quick little sidearm cast, even an underhand lob. This is one of my favorite casts, is just the underhand lob and throw and letting the rod tip do all the work. That's usually when I'm set rig fishing and I just want to get a rod pretty close. I'm using lighter setups for that, so I don't want to put a lot of oomph into the cast because I don't want to break my rod. So I just do the underhand lob. That's one of my favorite casts. But this is a distance casting video, guys. You got to come over the top and you got to get it. Step into it just like you're throwing a baseball. Open the bell, you're pulling that ball to your gut, and then the wind up and the throw. Opening the bell, the wind up, and the throw. If you practice this, guys, you're going to see a huge improvement on your distant casting. This is the cast looking straight from the back. I think I see some Spanish. I'm gonna tie on that little ES lure and see if I can get them. See them out there. Bell's open, one motion. Right in them. They're not gonna hit it because there's too much bait fish out there. They're not interested in my lure. I could throw this thing over and over and over right in the middle of all those pops, and I might luck up and foul hook one of them. Again, bell's open, swing around, one motion. That's gonna get you your best cast, guys. All right, guys, I hope that was helpful. I struggled a long time with these casts, especially with the set rig fishing. I did not want to bring that thing over my head. It just didn't make sense. But to get the distance, you need to do it. You need to practice. Come out here early in the morning, man, especially once we start moving out of summer. We start getting into those fall and winter months. You could come out here and get on the beach and cast all morning long and really see how far you're getting it. It's a great exercise in casting and really knowing what's really going on out there when I sling all this lead and hooks and bait. I'll often come out here and play with leaders too. When we were developing Panhandle salt rigs, I would come out here and do exactly this, especially with the long cast rig. I have a shorter leader, one drop, no float, couple beads, and I can launch that thing significantly further than I can the double drop rigs. Just makes sense. It cuts down on drag. So yeah, you can do a lot of playing out here with your cast when nobody's around. So again, hope that was helpful. I hope somebody out there took something from this video to improve that long game, because some days out here, guys, that's all we got. They're running deep. There is nothing you can do about it. You got to get a long cast in. Till next time, fishing buddies.